Okay, the infamous ring dips. So let's talk about how to set our athletes up for success. First, this is one of those movements you want to make sure you are in the room in your pre-class, but you should be doing that anyways, regardless of ring dips or not. So how do we set our athletes up? First, if they know that they're going to be needing assistance in their ring dips, you can turn your music down, say, hey everybody, we're going to be scaling today using our feet on the ground. So when you're setting up your ring dips, I want you on your tiptoes with arms fully extended here, okay? So first option for a ring dip is going to be the full variation. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm working on this myself. So full variation coming all the way down without their feet, they'll press all the way up, okay? Right, imagine my feet never touch the ground. So that's the first option. No assistance, ring dip. Always want that closed grip, palms facing in. We want that external rotation just like we do for a push-up. So they're pressing down, elbow pits slightly towards the front of the room. Now, when we do this, they're up on their toes. How they use their assistance, arms do all the work. They bend at their elbows, they're sitting their butt back like they're in a chair pose, heels staying lifted, they're coming down, shoulders just beyond parallel. And then without using their feet, feet are just there to help with stabilization. Without using their feet, they're pressing their palms down into that ring and they're coming all the way up. And they can stay here, maybe they float one foot, maybe they float both feet, feet come down, and they do it again, they come down. What we don't want to see is this, right? So it's slow, it's controlled. They're using their arms here, they're coming down, shoulders beyond that elbow, they're pressing the palms down, coming to full extension, maybe floating one foot, maybe both, coming back down, right? That's the challenge here, is that core stabilization. So the reason that we don't use that banded approach is because the rings are moving all over when I don't have that band, right? And a really challenging part of a ring dip is the core stabilization. Yes, arms too, but core stabilization is an important thing to consider when we're trying to help our athletes understand what is so challenging about this movement. So when we don't have that band, the rings are moving all over the place, okay? So that's why we want to encourage them to do this feet variation. They might even just go one foot down and press, but again, you need to be watching your athletes, because if they are just going like this, it's going to feel really, really easy. So we need to speak to that when we are breaking down this movement at the chalkboard or in our shins. So just to give you guys a side view, when they're doing this, they're up on their toes, coming down, sitting that butt back, shoulders over hips. A lot of times we'll see athletes going like this, almost hinging at their hips. That is not what we want to see. We want heels up and knees are bending, butt's coming down, just slightly letting that chest drop forward, not just coming down and up like this, okay? So if you have an athlete that they're still feeling pretty challenged, like this, then I would say grab that band. Sorry, I should have this. Grab that band, bring it through, okay? And use that as an option. So they just have it hanging on one side, they come across, they put one leg in or two legs in, but notice now the bands are right by each other, okay? And so they're not getting that same challenge that they would be if there was no band connecting the two rings, okay? So have fun with this one. Some ways to prep your athletes in class is actually coming down to the floor and having them do a hollow body hold, okay? And then press down like they're at the top of that ring dip, okay? So what I mean by that is they come here, we tuck up, we go hollow body and press, just like they did at the top of that ring dip that we were practicing, and release. Okay, fully extend and press, arms fully extend. Now what I would literally do is rock them up, have them grab their rings, and practice that hollow hold. Press, reset, press, reset. So they really feel the engagement through that midline in their ring dips, okay? Because that's exactly what it's gonna be. When they come down and they're coming up, and they might float one foot or the other, or both, okay? Last thing I wanna touch on, sorry, I know this is getting a little long, is a lot of times you'll see athletes jump up at the top here, so they'll come all the way up, and then they'll jump up. Rather than jumping straight up, we actually want them to think just like they would if they're on the bar. Float the feet out in front. So when they get to that full extension, tell them to float the feet forward rather than trying to jump up, okay? All right, ring dips. Let me know if you have any questions.